my name is Mark Haskins. In my playing days, I was known as Potres for obvious reasons. Had to do with my calves being a little larger than most, but I hail from a township south of Johannesburg, Eldorado Park, born and bred. That's where I learned my trade. That's what led to me becoming a professional footballer. I am no longer a professional footballer. I retired 10 years ago already. Blows my mind just saying it. I can't believe it's been 10 years already. But yes, I was blessed enough to play for 12 years as a professional. Got up and I was one of the lucky few to say I could do what I love for a living and get paid for it. So now I'm retired, but I'm still very much involved in the game as a football analyst and as a coach. And I also work representing footballers. I started playing professional football at 20 years old. I was delayed by 3 years, if I can say that. I was offered my first contract as a 17-year-old. I was in grade 11, but my parents were not having it. They wanted me to finish school. They wanted me to go to college, which I eventually did. I got a scholarship to go to study in the USA, so I was there for a year. So I tried my hand at it. But my heart was always back home and I wanted to turn professional. So after I matriculated, I went to the US, spent a year there and came right back. And I was at Cosmos under 19s. That's when I was offered my contract by Jomo. And when I came back, I went right back to Cosmos. And the rest is history. I signed a contract and my entry into professional football was at Cosmos as a 20-year-old. Brajay is the one who saw me. I was actually playing for a local club. My uncle was the coach, Joe Lawrence. He was the coach of local Mondio Meteors just down the road from where I went to school. He was my coach. We played a game against Wits University, I won't forget, at Marks Park. Jomo happened to be there on the day. And that's how I got scouted. We know that Jomo is probably one of the best eyes of talent in the country, so I'm honored that he was the one that saw the talent in me and gave me my opportunity to foray into professional football. My best memories as a footballer, it's difficult to pinpoint any singular memory. As I say, I consider myself extremely privileged to be able to play football and get paid for it, because it's what I love. It's in my blood. You know, it's what I did from a young age. Every day, my mother she fought with me every day because that's all I wanted to do. But so to be able to do it for a living was in itself a privilege and an honor. And I would have to say the best memories obviously is the successes. I won every trophy in South African football except the league title. So I would say that's probably my fondest memories. And then obviously, you know, coming back from a serious injury, that was, you know, a great moment in my career, you know, when you're not quite sure if you're going to be the same again. But I had an ACL reconstruction done. I think I was 24 at the time. Yeah. And that was a major moment for me, and I'm just glad I was able to get through it. A win that was very important. I remember, what year was it? I think it was like 03, 04 at Cosmos. We started the season terribly. We were playing well, but the ball was not rolling for us. We were struggling to get results. And I remember we played Ajax Cape Town in Rustenburg. And that was our first win of the season, and we were already in December, so that can tell you exactly how bad it was. We were literally in the December period, and it was a massive win for us because obviously we were in the relegation zone, and you know, the ball just wasn't rolling for us, and we got that win. And I remember crying. I was literally drawn to tears. Brajay even came to me, and you know, after the game we had a massive embrace because it meant the world to break that duck, and from there we were able to get the ball rolling and results kind of started coming our way. But just breaking that duck, I won't forget that day because the tears were flowing that day on my part, especially Brajay as well. And it was a massive moment. So that's one win that stands out. And it wasn't a victory in terms of winning the league or anything. It was what the relegation zone can do to you. My best goal, Yeah, it's one I've been trying to find. You know, it's obviously in my early days, we weren't playing every game on TV. Not every game was televised. But again, it was a moment at Cosmos. I would say there's three really. There's one in the Nedbank Cup against Maritzburg. I was at Morocco Swallows at the time. Tight game. I think we were already plus 70 minutes, quarterfinal of the Nedbank Cup. That's the year we went on to win it. Against Maritzburg, picked up the ball in the middle of the park. I drove, beat one player, and then on my left, I just unleashed a shot, left the goalkeeper standing still off the post to break the deadlock. We went on to win the game 2-0, and obviously we went on to win the cup. That was a big moment. I think second would be I was at Bidvest Wits, last game of the season against the champions by then, Supersport United. I remember hitting Emile Baron, a scorcher right above his head, and you know, against a quality goalkeeper like Emile, it meant that much more. But I'd have to say the best one is one I've been trying to track. I've been speaking to so many people trying to find the footage, but I hit Calvin Marlin. Again, it was at Cosmos against Supersport United. I hit Calvin Marlin from a good 30-40 yards, and it was one of those up-down. You know, when you say up-down, it hits the crossbar, comes down into the top of the net again. I think that one was probably the best of the lot. Why I didn't score enough?
Yeah.
I don't think it was a question of being goal shy, of being unselfish. My career was plagued by lack of confidence. And, you know, people, you know, won't understand it now because people think I had a relatively decent career. But I don't think I really played to my full potential, and I don't think I really showed what I was capable of, purely because I did have confidence issues. I had fear of failure, and so those are the things that plagued my career. I think I should have done, and you know, in hindsight, when I look back, you know, once you retire, you reflect back on your career. There's so many moments and so many things that I could have and should have done differently. But the major thing was self-belief. I didn't have the self-belief I should have, and so I think that's the major reason into me not scoring as much as I should have, not performing as well as I should have. And so generally that's what I speak to youngsters about. Self-belief is everything. You know, you need to understand who you are, understand what you're capable of, and believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? And so I think that's the major reason as to why I didn't quite reach the heights I should have. Which player I wish I played with? Let me start internationally. Obviously, my favorite footballer of all time is Zinedine Zidane. I think he's a magician. Watching him play, watching him glide with the ball, you know, I looked at him, watched him, and he absolutely was, for me, a phenomenal player. I think probably the biggest compliment of my career was given to me by the late Eddie Lewis. And, you know, it speaks to that old confidence thing, because he was angry at me purely because he saw something in me that, you know, he felt I was capable of so much more. And so the late Eddie Lewis actually said to me that when I run with the ball, I remind him of Zidane, which was a major compliment for me. And so, yes, I think Zidane for me, I would have loved, I mean, even to play against him, with him, against him, would have been a privilege. Locally, a player I played against that tormented me, I would say, was Shoes Mushoyo. So if I had the chance to play with him, that would have been great as well. I think he was phenomenal. I you know, regard him very much the way I regard Zidane, because I think his ability and the way he played, you know, it wasn't necessarily typical South African. His ability to go past people, to get beyond defenders, and score goals as well. I think he was an exceptional player. So, yeah, I got to feel the brunt playing against him. But, yeah, it would have been great to play with him. The nicest thing about being a professional athlete is doing what you love and getting paid for it. I mean, you know, so many people wake up every day and go to jobs that they absolutely detest. They do what they have to do, you know, and you know it's not necessarily what they enjoy, and that's why you know, I encourage all footballers to take it seriously in that regard, because a lot of times I think as footballers we can take it for granted. As professional athletes we can take it for granted. We're living the life that most people dream of, and in dream of I mean in a sense that you enjoy what you're doing. And so I think that's probably the best part of being a professional athlete, just to wake up every day and go to work, but you're going to kick a ball, you're going to throw a ball, or whatever the case may be. And so that's easily the best part of being a professional athlete, loving what you do, because a lot of us retire and then, you know, it's kind of like, okay, what now? And then you realize what everyone else goes through, because then now you have to kind of slog it out and try to find ways of making ends meet. And so definitely the privilege of actually doing what you love. The one thing I implore our current players to improve is regarding themselves as professionals. I think football is too social. So when you look at a Sunday league footballer, Sunday league guys, they show up, they play, afterwards they have a drink, it's nice time, it's whatever. And too many of our professional players act the same way, or they regard football the same way. It's a social thing. It's something I do, it's for fun. I don't think we take it, we're not professional enough in our conduct. When you look at your body is your facility that you use to earn a living. How well do you take care of your body? How much effort do you put into your career? I look and I always say, you compare yourself to a doctor, a lawyer. When they go to court or when they go to surgery, the amount of preparation that goes into it, they don't just wake up willy-nilly, I'm going to show up and do the surgery. Or, you know, a lawyer, he has to put in the hours, he has to put in the preparation, and he has to go, if he wants to be the best, he has to go over and above what everyone else is doing. And so that's when you're a professional. And football is no different. It's a career, it's your profession, it's what you do full time. And how do you become the best footballer you can possibly be? You have to conduct yourself like a professional, treat yourself like a professional. And so that's the one thing I implore our footballers to change. It's stop the social mentality. It's too social at the moment. We like every other social league footballer, every Sunday league footballer, we conduct ourselves in the same manner. Those Sunday league footballers wake up on Monday and they go to their jobs. And so you should know that you're not a Sunday league, you're not a social footballer, you're a professional footballer, and you have to conduct yourself in that manner. That's, for me, what we really need to change in the culture of our football. And upcoming footballers that we should look out for, I mean, some of them have arrived already. We can see, I'm a big fan of the School of Excellence and some of the products that have come through there. We saw Mabena making his debut as a 16-year-old at Sundowns. We saw Ratomo at Pirates. There's another youngster, Kutlwano Letlaku. I think he's going to be phenomenal. We can look out for him coming through at Sundowns. He's also from the School of Excellence. You look at the likes of Kaka, Sifumba at Cape Town City. I think he's a really special talent purely because of his mentality. He's got a great mentality, and he's going to be something to watch as well. I think Kiam Karelse, he's a great left-footed player who's going to do some special things. And there's a wide range of players you can think of. But one thing, South Africa is littered with quality. And that's why we as a country need to do better with that quality, because there's never been a question of whether there's talent in South African football. There's an abundance of talent. In fact, I would say there's too much talent. Because there's not enough space for all the talent that we have. But how we're managing that talent and how we're nurturing and developing that talent, I think we've got a long way to go in that regard. If you look at how our junior national teams have fallen short of the mark, because we should be qualifying for major tournaments easily. It's testament to are we doing enough to develop and nurture the young talent that we have in this country, because there's never been a question of a lack of ability. That is definitely there. It's just us making sure we're doing the right things with it.